Oh, Martha Stewart, what a disappointment. Martha questioning Meghan's credibility in the lifestyle space is the kind of delusion only a rich white woman can afford. The woman did time for insider trading and somehow thinks she's the gold standard for taste? Be serious. Let's just start here. Martha Stewart built her brand selling rich white woman fantasy. Homemade jam, hand-pressed linens, the illusion of perfection wrapped in pastels and privilege. And for that, she was hailed a pioneer. And now that Meghan is creating a lifestyle brand rooted in modern elegance, cultural nuance, and actual relevance, it's suddenly, I hope she knows what she's talking about. No, Martha, you hope she fails. Because Meghan represents something that terrifies women like you. A black woman occupying a space she was never supposed to touch. A space designed to exclude her. Lifestyle, wellness, luxury. These were white women domains. Unspoken rules. Unofficial gates. And Meghan didn't just step through the door. She renovated the damn house and made it better. And now that she's thriving, you're threatened. You had no smoke for Gwyneth when she started Goop. With pseudoscience and overpriced nonsense. You let her slide on yoni eggs, aura sprays, and unregulated health advice. But Meghan launches products and a Netflix show with a clean aesthetic, a grounded voice, and actual market appeal. And now suddenly you're concerned with authenticity? You're not protecting the industry. You're protecting the hierarchy. What's eating you isn't Meghan's credibility. It's her presence. She walked into a space that historically centered white women and said, I belong here too. And that's what makes you uncomfortable. Because when a black woman finally redefines the standard, you're no longer the default. Once Meghan makes lifestyle elegant, without erasing her identity, without controlling herself for white comfort, your brand of aspirational whiteness stops being the only blueprint. And let's be honest, you're not curious about her show. You're watching it to nitpick. You're hoping for a stumble. But Meghan doesn't stumble. She elevates. She adapts. And unlike you, she doesn't need a prison redemption arc or a rap cosign to stay relevant. She brings something you can't buy. Cultural capital, global intrigue, a story that actually matters. So keep throwing your passive-aggressive shade. Meghan's not worried about you. She's not pressed. She's not impressed. She's busy doing what you can't, evolving with the times. You're not a gatekeeper. You're a relic. So sit down, you're washed up. The era of white women lifestyle monopoly is over. Meghan owns her lane now. And you're in the way. So move over.
At first, when I saw this In Touch Weekly Instagram post, I thought, well, clearly there is more to this story. Martha Stewart's comments about Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, must have been taken out of context. These quotes are taken out of context from People magazine's exclusive with Martha Stewart, but not in the way you might think. During the interview, Martha is asked what she is like at a party. She starts talking about that, then pivots to the fact that she was a guest at a dinner party that Meghan was also at. Quote, she had just gotten back from the palace. I didn't talk to her really more than to say a couple of words, but I know she was talking about it. So let me get this straight. You went to a party where Meghan was a guest, and then you managed to work her into a question that has absolutely nothing to do with her, with information based on the fact that you just know it, despite the fact that you didn't say more than a few words to her. If that was not enough to get royal reporters edging, there is, of course, a follow-up question, because that's what a reporter does, especially when you bring up one of the most talked about women in the world. Martha is asked, what do you think about her stepping into your space with her own cooking show? Framing it as Martha's space makes Meghan look like an intruder. There were a few different ways that Martha could have answered this. She chose, if you're an actress, it's hard to then transition to a princess, and then from a princess into a homemaking guru on a television show. Doesn't sort of follow. So go from there. In Touch Weekly and other outlets were not picking up Martha Stewart's recreation of a 1995 People magazine cover, if not for bringing Meghan's name into it. I actually think the most insulting part of this is calling Meghan a princess. Not just the fact that Meghan is not technically a princess, she's a duchess. It's also what the word princess is supposed to evoke in people. It's a fairy tale. Meghan got to go live this fantastic life that little girls dream of, and she just threw it away. I don't know. I feel like Martha could find more sympathy for someone that was in a prison of sorts. What do you find confusing about this transition? Did Grace Kelly not exist? This is also coming from someone that has been on the model to stockbroker to caterer to cookbook author to magazine owner to inmate to failed TV show and onwards. But yeah, Meghan's trajectory doesn't follow. I'm not here to roast Martha. She's an incredibly intelligent, dogged woman who is media savvy enough to know what she is doing by bringing Meghan into a conversation that she really had no place being in the first place. Follow up to my last video. Several of you reminded me that Martha Stewart made comments that also made headlines about Meghan's show With Love Meghan back when it premiered. This is from People magazine, April 2025. Martha Stewart says she's, quote, curious about Meghan Markle's Netflix show. Quote, I'll see how she does. Okay. Quote, while promoting her new NBC cooking competition show, Yes Chef, Stewart, who's had multiple lifestyle shows over the course of her storied career, was asked about Meghan's new Netflix series, With Love Meghan. First, she asked if it had started. Caddy premiered on March 4th. Girl, you knew that. She admitted that she was curious and said, quote, I'll watch an episode and see how she does. Quote, her co-host, Chef Jose Andres, has nothing but praise for the Duchess of Sussex. Did you ever catch an episode? Because she talks about how she's always had a love for cooking and entertaining and making spaces beautiful, which feels like something you might have in common with the Duchess of Sussex. It's also important context to note that it wasn't just Martha Stewart's 85th birthday. Her birthday, I found out, was one day before Meghan's. They are both Leos. So of course, from a PR perspective, you are going to tie in your big milestone birthday to all the other projects that you have going on. Among the irons in the pot, Stewart has her beauty line. She also has this AI home organization tool that she's working with or helped create or something. She was also in a Mother Denim campaign. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's good. So it's like, why does this woman have to make comments when she knows it is going to lead to this kind of cruel coverage? Obviously, it's because she's from Connecticut. I'm just kidding. If you're from the tri-state area, you know what I mean. And this is coming from a girl that was born and raised in New Jersey, so bring it. But also, yes, of course, it's because she has other projects going on and she knows that saying something about Meghan is going to prompt a follow-up question, and that is going to make the news outlets. Girl, you are rich. You got chickens. Stop it.
Martha Stewart shades Meghan Markle. I'm sure you guys have seen this claim by the Derangers. So I went in search of it so I could, read it and see what she said. This was all I could find. So it claims she made veiled swipe at Meghan Markle by saying, I don't really know Meghan, but I hope she knows what she's talking about, authenticity and all of that. While I don't see that as shade in any way, shape or form, because these people, the tabloid press and the Rangers, they like to make a mountain out of a molehill. But then this is Martha Stewart. She's always had something negative to say about women. She had something to say about Gwyneth Paltrow's group. She had something to say about Blake Lively. She always has negative things to say. She doesn't say about the men, mind you. So there are certain women who find other women as competition and they are envious or angry about them. But to me, this didn't look like a dig. It didn't look like a shade. Are we going to really take her words to heart? I think not. I think it's a mountain out of a molehill as always. And I hope this is another Gwyneth Paltrow situation where she comes out and debunks it and says, sorry, you're just using my name to write crap as always. What do you guys think?
These are the kind of articles that just tick me off. Not that I'm surprised. I don't say allegedly, although it appears like she said it. Because wasn't Martha Stewart a stockbroker once upon a time, I believe in the 80s? Yeah. Wasn't she then a model? Yeah. And a mother? Yep. And then went on to build her empire? Yeah. All those things are true. So why does Martha feel that she can have 3 different careers, but Meghan can't? I mean, being an actress, yeah, that was her job. Being a princess, I don't know if that necessarily was her job, but she quit. She was forced to quit her lifestyle brand that she had before marrying. This is what people forget. Before she married Prince Harry, her original lifestyle brand was a success. It was like when influencers were becoming a thing. She was already successful doing that. She literally just went back to something that she's clearly passionate about. And if she didn't have that before marrying Prince Harry, why can Martha have multiple careers, but Meghan can't? These are the hypocrisies that I notice that piss me off. Because it doesn't make any kind of sense. She can do it, but Meghan can't. And this isn't the first time, I can't remember, but I know I've made videos in the past about little snarky remarks that Martha has made towards Meghan. And to be fair, I do remember her also saying snarky remarks against Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't know why she feels like she pioneered this. I mean, yes, she hopped on pretty early on, but so did B. Smith. And if I remember correctly, she also made B. Smith's life miserable, her career miserable, from what I remember reading back in the day. So she has a track record of doing that to people that she feels are a threat to her, I guess. I don't know. But ever since getting out of prison, Martha never bounced back. And I used to love Martha Stewart. Like, I subscribed to her magazines. I regret that now. But I used to watch her show and stuff. But it's just like, Martha, there is room for everyone. Why do people have this mentality that these markets are saturated? Like, there is room for everyone to do these things. Just because Meghan tried a new endeavor, it's not even a new endeavor, tried a different endeavor, does not mean that Martha can't continue doing what she does. Yeah. But the fact that she had multiple careers and nobody cared, nobody batted an eye, and she thought it was okay for her to do it, but Meghan apparently can't, why is that, Martha?
Happy Friday, squaddies. I hope you've all had an amazing week. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending part of your day with me. I truly appreciate every single one of you. Whether you're a returning squaddie or you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, because today's royal drama is another one you do not want to miss. Let's get straight into it. Now here's the part that has me scratching my head. Since when did the lifestyle world become a private country club? Did somebody put up a sign saying, "Sorry, we're full, no new members allowed," because I must have missed that meeting? Let's be real for a second. Martha Stewart built an incredible business. Nobody is taking that away from her. Good for her. She earned her success. But here's my question. Does succeeding first mean nobody else gets to cook? Nobody else gets to grow flowers? Nobody else gets to make jam? Nobody else gets to decorate a dining table? Come on now, that's not how business works. If it did, we'd all still be driving the very first car ever made. Every industry grows because new people come in with their own ideas. That's how competition works. That's how business works. That's how life works. And here's what makes the criticism toward Meghan so strange. Meghan has never walked around calling herself a world-famous chef. She hasn't claimed she invented gardening. She never said she created homemade preserves. She's simply sharing things she's been talking about for years. Cooking, hosting friends, fresh flowers, growing vegetables, creating a warm home. We've literally seen those interests long before As Ever became a brand. So why are some people acting like she woke up one morning and stole somebody's personality? It makes no sense. And here's the funny part. Hollywood is full of celebrities selling something. Wine, tequila, perfume, makeup, candles, cookbooks, coffee, skincare, hair products, fashion. Nobody throws themselves on the floor every time another celebrity launches a business. It's almost expected. But when Meghan does it, suddenly the internet behaves like she's committed the crime of the century. Really? Ask yourself why. Is it really about raspberry spread and flower arrangements? Or is it about the name on the label? Because those are two completely different conversations. Regular people see this every day. Someone new gets a promotion, people complain. Someone starts a business, people complain. Someone tries something different, people complain. Sometimes folks don't have a problem with the idea. They've got a problem with who's doing it. And that's exactly why this debate keeps going. The lifestyle space isn't owned by one person. Nobody has exclusive rights to baking cookies, arranging flowers, setting a beautiful table, or welcoming guests into their home. There is room for Martha. There is room for Meghan. There is room for anyone with something people enjoy. The marketplace decides who succeeds, not newspaper columns, not social media outrage, not people acting like they've been appointed the official gatekeepers of jam. At the end of the day, if Meghan's products weren't interesting, people would simply ignore them. Instead, every launch becomes headline news. Every product becomes a debate. Every interview becomes another round of arguments. And maybe that's the biggest clue of all. This conversation isn't staying alive because Meghan is selling a lifestyle. It's staying alive because some people simply can't stand the fact that she's succeeding in one. Now let me tell you who really wins every time Meghan's name starts trending. The media. Seriously. Think about how this whole thing started. One person shares an opinion. That should have been it, right? A few people agree, a few people disagree, everyone moves on. Instead, it turns into headline number 1, then headline number 2, then TV panels jump in, then come the royal experts, then YouTubers, then podcasts, then social media starts arguing, then somebody reacts to somebody reacting to somebody else's reaction. By the end of the week, you're sitting there wondering, wait, how did we get here? It's honestly like watching someone throw one tiny pebble into a pond, and somehow the media reports it like a tsunami. And here's the crazy part. The same outlets constantly telling us people are tired of Meghan, can't stop writing about Meghan. Explain that one to me. If people were really bored of her, why are you publishing 10 stories before lunchtime? Nobody forces these newspapers to hit the publish button. Nobody forces TV producers to book another debate. Nobody forces commentators to spend an entire week discussing one comment. They do it because they know one thing. Meghan gets attention. Attention brings clicks. Clicks bring money. It's really that simple. Let's stop pretending this is some great public service. This is business. Regular people understand this better than anyone. Imagine your local restaurant saying, our customers hate pizza. Then every single day they put pizza at the top of the menu. You'd laugh. Because if something wasn't selling, they'd stop serving it. The media works exactly the same way. If Meghan's stories didn't perform, they'd disappear overnight. But they don't, because every article leads to another article. Every opinion creates 5 more opinions. The story feeds itself. And here's the biggest plot twist of all. The loudest critics often become Meghan's biggest promoters without even realizing it. Every angry headline gives her more visibility. Every television debate reminds people she's still here. Every social media argument keeps her name trending. They're basically doing free advertising. Can you imagine that? Spending all day complaining about someone while making sure the whole world keeps talking about them. You couldn't write a better comedy. At some point you've got to ask, who's actually keeping Meghan in the headlines? Because from where I'm sitting, it isn't Meghan. She's busy building businesses, launching products, and living her life. The real engine behind this never-ending news cycle is the media machine that simply cannot resist turning every Meghan story into a blockbuster event. And until those clicks stop rolling in, don't expect the obsession to end anytime soon.
Can we all just take a second and appreciate the biggest contradiction in this whole story? Every other week, somebody pops up saying, Meghan is finished. Nobody cares about Meghan anymore. She's irrelevant. Really? Then explain this to me. Martha Stewart makes a few comments, and before you've even finished your morning coffee, the story is everywhere. Television panels, newspapers, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. Thousands of people arguing in comment sections like it's the World Cup final. How does that happen if someone is supposedly irrelevant? It doesn't. That's not how irrelevance works. You know what's irrelevant? The TV remote you lost 3 years ago. Nobody's looking for it. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's making documentaries about it. That's irrelevant. Meghan? She's the complete opposite. Her name is like pressing the biggest alarm button in the media. The second somebody mentions her, every newsroom suddenly wakes up. Editors start shouting, writers start typing, YouTubers grab their microphones, reaction videos appear out of nowhere. Before you know it, the internet is having another Meghan marathon. Let's stop pretending this is an accident. It's business. The media follows attention. Attention brings clicks, clicks bring money, and Meghan brings attention. That's the part some people don't want to admit. One thing is undeniable. Meghan is powerful. Not because someone handed her that power, because she has the rare ability to get millions of people talking with the smallest move. She posts a photo, people debate it. She launches a product, people debate it. She attends an event, people debate it. Someone else mentions her, guess what? People debate it. That's influence. That's reach. That's cultural relevance. You don't have to like someone to admit they're a major public figure. And I think that's where some critics get stuck. They keep saying Meghan's popularity is over, while accidentally proving the exact opposite every single day. Because if she truly wasn't popular, these stories wouldn't travel around the world in a matter of hours. Newsrooms don't spend time chasing stories that nobody reads. Television producers don't book panels for people nobody cares about. They follow demand, and the demand is obvious. Here's what makes me laugh. Some of the very people complaining that Meghan gets too much attention are the same people making sure she stays in the headlines. They're basically working overtime for Team Meghan without even realizing it. It's like saying you hate a song, then playing it on repeat every single day. Who does that? At some point, you've got to face reality. That's not what happens to someone who's fading away. That's what happens to someone who still has enormous influence. So maybe it's time everyone stopped pretending Meghan has disappeared, because the numbers, the headlines, the conversations, and the global attention all point in the same direction. Meghan Sussex isn't just part of the conversation, she is the conversation. And you know what, squaddies? I think this whole Martha Stewart story stopped being about Martha Stewart after about 5 minutes. Seriously, that was just the spark. The internet took it from there. Before long, people weren't just talking about jam, recipes, or lifestyle brands anymore. Now it's about who gets welcomed into certain spaces, who gets questioned, who gets judged, and who seems to have to work twice as hard just to hear someone say, "You did a good job." That's why Meghan conversations never stay small. They always grow into something much bigger. Because Meghan isn't just a person anymore. She's become a mirror. People look at Meghan and somehow end up telling you more about themselves. Some see a woman who rebuilt her life after walking away from one of the most famous institutions on earth. Someone who refused to let other people decide the rest of her story. Someone who said, "I'm going to build something of my own." And that's exactly what she's been doing. Years after leaving royal duties, Meghan is still one of the most talked about women on the planet. That's not an opinion. Just look at what happens every time her name pops up. One comment, one interview, one Instagram post, one product launch, one appearance, and suddenly the whole internet is acting like they got an emergency group text. Everybody has something to say. Everybody suddenly becomes an expert. It's actually hilarious. Meghan could probably post a picture of a cup of tea, and by lunchtime there'd be television specials explaining what brand of tea bag she used. You know, I'm not even exaggerating that much. That's the level we've reached. And here's what I think regular people see. Whether you're a teacher, a nurse, a mechanic, a student, or somebody running a small business, most of us know what it feels like when people make up their minds about you before you even open your mouth. You work hard, you build something, you keep moving, and somehow there are always people waiting to tell you why you shouldn't succeed. That's why so many people connect with Meghan's story, not because they live in Montecito, not because they're famous, but because they understand what it feels like to keep going while people keep doubting you. And look where Meghan is today. She's building businesses, creating new projects, growing her brand, living life on her own terms. Meanwhile, some of the loudest critics still can't go a week without mentioning her name. Now that's the part that really makes me laugh. Imagine saying someone doesn't matter while spending years talking about them. Who's actually keeping the conversation alive? Exactly. At the end of the day, this debate was never really about Martha Stewart. It wasn't about homemade jam. It wasn't about flower arrangements. It wasn't about recipes. It became another chapter in the never-ending Meghan conversation. And maybe that's because Meghan has reached a point where almost everything she does starts a discussion. She gets people talking. She gets people watching. She gets people reacting. That's influence. That's relevance. That's popularity. That's exactly why these debates never seem to end. All right, squaddies, that's a wrap. Meghan just keeps proving that confidence is the best response, while some people are out here acting like there's only room for one queen of the kitchen. Sorry, the lifestyle world didn't stop accepting new members in 1985. To Meghan, keep building, keep shining, and keep proving the doubters wrong. Success speaks louder than the noise. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm your host, Niles. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and become a channel member to support the channel. God bless you all, have an amazing weekend, and I'll catch you squaddies in the next episode.